let's get started.
All right. Well, hi everyone. Whether you're joining us live here on Facebook today or you found us on YouTube on our recording, I'd like to welcome our audience. This is our first video in our series that we're calling Wrangling Parenthood, presented by Chisholm Pediatrics. I am your host, Shane Littleton, CEO of Chisholm Pediatrics, and I'm joined today by our expert, Dr. Cavanagh, who's going to be talking to us about Wrangling COVID. Today, we're going to be talking about COVID and what it means for your kids. We will be taking questions and comments from the live Facebook viewers. And yes, we will be talking about the breaking news this week, that COVID-19 vaccine and what it means for you and your children. Dr. Cavanagh, let's go ahead and get started. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a graduate of Texas A&M, both undergrad and medical school. I've been a practicing pediatrician for 15 years. This is my third or fourth year here at Chisholm Pediatrics, and I'm the chief medical officer here. I really love kids and make balloons for kids. I'm proud if y'all recognize me, it might be, because I'm the balloon guy. That seems to be my claim to fame these days.
Yeah. Some of y'all don't know, Dr. Cavanagh and I actually took over the practice 2018. We've been having a lot of fun through, everyone from then through this COVID year. It's been a little crazy.
It's been crazy. But yeah, it's been usually, there's not a day go by that don't hear our laughter.
I know it. So, let's get our COVID discussion going. First of all, are you seeing COVID cases in your practice right now?
We're really not seeing a lot. We're seeing some scattered cases here and there, but not a lot.
Right. And why do you think that is?
Kids, and we've been saying this, and it's just playing out to be true, that kids just don't seem to be getting COVID as much. They're not as susceptible to COVID as adults are. That said, they also have less symptoms, so there may be more asymptomatic cases that we don't know about, but in general, kids aren't getting it as much. And also, I think that wearing the masks and social distancing, those measures have been helpful.
So stuff's actually working.
It's actually working. Go figure, wearing masks.
Excellent.
Or social distancing, like our social distancing.
We have our social distancing tree. That's right.
The 6-foot tree.
Do you think it's because we aren't testing enough? Do you think we're doing an adequate amount of testing?
We've actually been testing quite a lot at the office. Just because we're one of the only groups, as you know, that have a rapid molecular test that is approved by the Georgetown ISD to clear someone if they have symptoms. And so anytime somebody has a sniffle or a cough or runny nose and they need clearance, we can test them for that.
Now you mentioned sniffles and coughs. I know this is cedar and allergy season, right? How do we know if you have a patient, if it's just the typical normal allergies, a runny nose, or if it's something that we need to be a little bit more concerned about, like COVID?
That's you're right. I mean, it's welcome to cedar season, right? December, January, February. It's just we are starting to see a lot more of that. But like you mentioned, how do we know the difference between it being an infection of some sort or allergies? It's actually been a diagnostic challenge even before COVID, right? Like, is it the flu? Is it a cold? Is it allergies? And so, how do we really know? Most importantly, and always, any time, is going to be the history. The history is going to be the medical history that we get from the patient. Is always going to be one of the very best ways to help differentiate between an infection and allergies. Things like, do they have a fever? Which is more consistent with an infection, or their itchy eyes? That's more consistent with allergies. That said, if we're still unsure, or a parent really wants to nail that, really would like to have further testing, we can always do the lab testing if it's available.
If it's available, right? That's the question.
Unfortunately, right? Like the ability for companies like Abbott to manufacture this quality rapid molecular test is outpaced by the demand for it. And so we've been fortunate enough that you fought like mad to get us those tests for our patients so we could offer that service. And I know it was quite a challenge, but we're able to provide that for our patients at this time. Unfortunately, there's no guarantee that we won't ever run out, because at some point when we request it, they may not have manufactured enough at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my end of it, right, at the business side, and I can see that sometimes there's a hold on these tests to get them out to all the people. I will say, though, we here at Chisholm Pediatrics, we have a little bit more of an advantage because this Abbott IMD Now molecular machine, we've been using it since 2019,
Right.
since that summer.
Yeah.
You know, we thought it was just kind of a cool thing to have for flu and strep. And now all of a sudden, we're a year ahead of everybody else on these antigens, so we're getting those COVID tests a little bit faster if we're able to get them from the manufacturer.
Right.
So it's always while supplies last, right? But what happens if we don't have it? What happens if we run out? What are our options then?
That's the end of the world. No, I'm just kidding. If thankfully we still have doctors and nurse practitioners here working and ready to see patients, so we can certainly still see patients even without that rapid test. And also, we still have the ability to test with a good sensitive test. It just might not be rapid. It might be a few days results that we have to send off to the lab.
Okay, so worst case scenario, it won't be 15 minutes like ours are,
Right.
but it might just be a couple days. You're still going to get that pretty accurate test.
Yeah, and then don't have to stay at home until that point.
I was going to say, but you still have the quarantining procedures, sometimes
Sure.
even with a negative test, right? You still have to
Absolutely.
quarantine.
Or if you've been exposed,
Right.
yeah, that's those CDC guidelines that have just recently changed about the 7 days exposure.
Right.
So if you've been tested negative, even if you test negative, if you've been exposed to someone close who has positive, you have to be out at least 14 days.
Yeah. Just a reminder for our folks listening right there, if you have questions, type them into the comments section, and we'll be trying to read those out a little bit later after through the broadcast. Let's keep on talking about these tests, though. So I do hear about these rapid antigen tests, not the molecular stuff like we have, but what's your opinion on these rapid tests?
You know, the rapid antigen test, I'm not a fan, but we had an opportunity initially that we could have jumped on. They were the earliest available type tests, and a lot of places were offering it. A lot of freestanding ERs and hospitals and health departments were offering this rapid antigen test. Unfortunately, it's not very sensitive. So even up to the point that sometimes in 1 in 5 cases, if somebody had COVID, it might miss them having COVID, and giving them a false sense of confidence that, hey, I don't have COVID. So then they go out and possibly spread it to family members and other people in the community. Just I wasn't very comfortable with that kind of rate.
Or even the false positives that I'm hearing about. You get a false positive and you think, hey, I'm immune to this thing.
Right.
I'm good. You know, the research shows it's not impossible, but it's rare to catch it twice.
Sure.
You've never actually had it to have that immunity.
And that's what we call specificity. And these tests also didn't have a great level of specificity. Where the rapid molecular test is different. It has a good sensitivity and specificity. So nothing is perfect, but they're in the 90s, which is, I think, good enough for us to really base our clinical judgment on.
Great. All right. Speaking of immunity, right? Let's talk about the news that just hit this week. I don't know if y'all out there listened to Governor Abbott today. He had a wonderful speech about the vaccine and Texas's plan. We've already sent like over 200,000 of these vaccines this week to different doctors and other healthcare professionals and higher risk patients that are going to be getting them. All right, tell me about this vaccine. What's it about?
There's a vaccine. So, yeah, the COVID vaccine is very exciting, right? It's it's something that kind of the grail, the holy grail that we've been waiting for since really this hit. That we knew that this was going to be something that we were going to need a vaccine for to eradicate this, for the most part, from the community. And so it's something that we've all been yearning for. And now that we get there, though, it's really interesting. You see this phenomenon where people are so hopeful for this vaccine, but it's almost like the dog who's chasing a car, and when he finally catches it, doesn't have a clue what to do. Now that we have this vaccine, there are a lot of people that are very hesitant about the vaccine. So I feel like, I think for the most part, it's because people need more information on it. So a little brief primer, this vaccine is kind of interesting. It's really cool. It represents a different type of vaccine. It's than we've previously done. Typically, vaccines have used either parts of a virus or bacteria, or a weakened version of that virus or bacteria to get the body to recognize it and build immunity. But this is an mRNA vaccine. That stands for messenger ribonucleic acid. And so mRNA are basically instructions or blueprints in the body. It's a signal to the body on, here's what I need I want you to build a protein. And so way this vaccine works is we actually have in the vaccine is the mRNA for the spike protein for the COVID virus. So the mRNA tells our body, hey, make this spike protein, and then the mRNA, after doing its job, is degraded over time, and then the body is left making this spike protein. Well, then our body recognizes that spike protein and gets like an immune response and a memory for it, so that when someone's exposed to COVID, they are able to mount a very quick and effective defense because they remember it, and so that people don't get sick.
So is it? I always hear about vaccines being live or dead vaccines. We're talking about the bacterial vaccines. Is it safer than those then? It
is. It's safer than those because there's no particles floating around afterwards. It's something that immunologists have been extremely excited about. It's a very exciting new type of vaccine. And the safety data, extensive safety data from Pfizer and Moderna showing that it's a very safe vaccine as well as effective.
Now, you say mRNA. Is this vaccine going to change my DNA in any way?
That's a great question. I hear that a lot recently. Like, people are worried about, man, is it going to change our DNA, right? And it's just instructions. So it can't change our DNA any more than a recipe could change our kitchen.
Okay. So one of the biggest concerns about this vaccine that I've heard is, in the beginning, people were just, man, we need a vaccine. It's May, it's June, it's scary. How fast can we get this vaccine? Now it's December and we have it, and now they're saying, whoa, that was too fast. It was rushed.
Right.
So what do you say to those people that are saying this vaccine was manufactured too quickly? Because these manufacturers out there are doing record-breaking stuff.
Yeah.
What would you say to these patients that have those concerns?
I mean, it's understandable in the sense that in the past, vaccines have taken a much longer to bring to market. And so the appearance is that this has been rushed or there's been corners that have been cut, right? And nobody wants a vaccine that like, well, we cut corners just so we can get it out there, right? So thankfully, this hasn't been rushed. It has been rushed, but the parts that have been rushed have been like the red tape. This vaccine was put to the front of the line, so they cut through the red tape to get it pushed through. But the clinical trials, where we can really assess whether it's effective and whether it's safe, these vaccines have to have gone through the same rigorous clinical trials the FDA demands of any other vaccine prior to these vaccines. So they have all passed the same rigorous testing. So they came out quickly because we cut out red tape, but they didn't rush through any of the clinical trials.
Okay, so when they say they're FDA approved, it's just like any other vaccine is FDA approved.
Right, and we talk about emergency use, the emergency.
Yeah.
The emergency part of it is we put it at the front of the docket and actually talk about it instead of putting it off and putting it in the back of the line.
Great. So I'm going to ask you just to reemphasize, in your professional opinion, is this vaccine safe?
Absolutely, and I think that myself and millions of healthcare workers who are waiting in line expectantly for this vaccine can attest that we are even putting our own selves on the line. That's how much we believe in the safety of this vaccine. So as soon as I have the opportunity to get the vaccine, I'm putting my shoulder out there to get it. And so absolutely think that this is I do strongly believe in the safety of this vaccine. One of the really cool things, interesting about this vaccine too, is the FDA has developed a new monitoring system as well to continue to monitor. Through the clinical trials, they've monitored for side effects and whatnot, but they're going to continue to monitor those side effects through a new program called Be Safe. So it's a smartphone app that is a post-vaccine health checker, so that in real-time data of side effects, so it's going to continue to collect real-time data on any side effects that develop.
This stuff is like groundbreaking. I just heard them talking about it on the radio this morning, and they were interviewing this lady who had received the COVID-19 vaccine, and she said that they made her download an app, and every so often it asks questions. Do you have symptoms A, B, C, and D? And if you do, how severe? So they can monitor these side effects or adverse effects from the COVID vaccine in real time and have that aggregate data. that we can use. That's so cool.
I think it's really exciting, and hopefully it's another of the many things that have come out of this that will change the way we do medicine. This will be something we'll continue with other vaccines as well. I think that's kind of cool.
Okay, the big question. You're in pediatrics, we're in pediatrics. What can you tell me about the vaccine and our children? You know, I have 2 kids, you have a lot of kids, I know that. So are we going to be able to get our kids vaccinated? When, and will it be safe for them? What can you tell me about that?
So right now, we aren't, the children are not, it's not indicated for children. So at this point, because they haven't been in the clinical trials, any kid under 17 right now is not, it's not approved for them as of yet. Thankfully, they're moving in that direction. AAP has really pushed for that because we're not going to want to give vaccines to kids until it's been studied in them.
Sure.
And so, and it wouldn't be approved for them either. So right now, Moderna is actually starting to enroll patients in from the 12 to 17 age group, that adolescent age group. So eventually, it will be studied in those kids, and eventually, it will be indicated. So right now, we're in that let's wait and see. Thankfully, kids don't seem to get COVID, like we're saying, or symptoms or severity of COVID symptoms as much as adults. So they're a little bit safer to wait on. They're not as high a priority as the elderly and first-line healthcare workers. And the nice thing is that once it does come out, it will only come out for kids. These vaccines are only going to be ready for kids if and when there's an extensive clinical trials for them as well. And then also, at that point, we're going to have compiled a lot more population data from old farts like me who get the vaccine way earlier. So we're going to have a lot more data to look at the safety data before we ever give it to the kids.
But I think that even if we did have them approved for kids right now, just from a purely demand standpoint, we probably wouldn't be injecting them first anyway. Right.
They're lower on the priority list, but that also brings up a good point because there have been people asking like, okay, should we vaccinate them if they don't have symptoms? So you know, the answer is yeah, because we want to have herd immunity, right? So you know, for us to be able to get back to normal or whatnot, herd immunity is the goal. So great.
So, if COVID-19 isn't affecting kids as severely, you already said, yes, definitely still vaccinate them.
Right.
Right, when it's approved. And I know that we already have 2 manufacturers that have sent out vaccines in the market, Pfizer and Moderna.
Right.
And then I heard about Johnson & Johnson coming out with their product, AstraZeneca coming out with their product. So by March, we could have 4 manufacturers that are sending out hundreds of thousands of vaccines all around the country. Some are 1-shot doses, some are 2-shot doses. Maybe by then we'll have some that are FDA approved for 12 to 17, like you mentioned. Okay, so let's say we get this herd immunity, right? That's what everyone says. When do you think that'll be, and when do you think we're going to get back to normal?
That's a great, I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? And if I answer it, I get $1 million.
Yeah, if I had it.
So, you know, that's a hard question to answer. I will say with herd immunity, we don't even know what percentage of people need to be vaccinated for us to really start seeing COVID just go away due to herd immunity, because it's disease, herd immunity, that concept that enough people are vaccinated to form a protective bubble around an entire population, that varies based on the disease. And so, you know, certain diseases need to have a higher percentage of people being vaccinated to see herd immunity, and some need lower. Getting back to normal, I don't think that there will ever be a normal. I think we're going to embrace a new normal. I think that what we've done in life is about adapting and growing. I happen to think that we've all grown and changed from this, and so I'm hopeful that there's certain things that we have learned and grown from and take away from this, that things don't go back to the way completely back to the way they were before. For instance, we practice telemedicine a lot more now, and it was something that prior to COVID, we had talked about and were interested in, but we just, you know, we hadn't dipped our toe in the water. COVID made us dive in head first, and I'm glad we did. It's been a very beneficial for the families. I happen to really like telemedicine now. I like seeing families' homes and things like that, and kind of seeing the kids in a more comfortable environment. So I think there's certain things like that we're going to take away, that things aren't going to change. And who knows? Maybe we'll be wearing masks more frequently in different situations. Maybe during flu season, people are going to opt to remain wearing masks, and maybe daycares. I've seen a lot of daycares have changed their approach and been a lot more rigorous in keeping infections down, and consequently we may not see as many colds and ear infections and things like that. Kids may actually stay healthier just because in general we're going to be a little bit more vigilant. So in some ways, in a positive way, I don't think that we're going to ever get to where we were before, but maybe in a better place even.
Yeah, so you're a firm believer of like the new normal. It's not going to go back to January 2020.
Right.
It's going to be more of a new normal, which I think we all kind of understand. And we can see you, because I see the numbers every day. It's what I do.
Right.
We don't have much of a sick season this sick season, because kids aren't really catching COVID. They're all either staying at home or they're going to school wearing masks.
Exactly.
And so not only are they not spreading COVID, they're not spreading flu, they're not spreading strep and all that other kind of infectious diseases that were normally, booked morning till afternoon this time of the year. We're just not seeing it. So, but you can't really complain about a healthy population of kids, right?
I know, right? It was bad for business. It's great for our patients, and we're happy about that, right? It's such a weird job.
Funny business we're in. Do we have any questions? All right. Well, I think that is all the time we have today. I would like to thank Dr. Andrew Cavanagh and Chisholm Pediatrics for helping us set this video podcast up. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please make sure to hit that like button or give us a thumbs up to support us. If you have any questions that were not answered, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. If you'd like to set up an appointment with one of the providers from Chisholm Pediatrics, please call either one of our 2 locations. Or if you'd like to support Dr. Cavanagh, myself, and Chisholm Pediatrics, the best way to do that is to go and leave a 5-star review on Facebook or Google. There will be links available for you to click on to help you do that. I encourage everyone to tune in to our next video, where we're going to be talking about wrangling lactation. We will be joined by one of the Chisholm Pediatric nurse practitioners who's also a certified lactation counselor. Be sure to submit your questions beforehand or join us live. We will be posting information about the date and time of that video shortly, and feel free to hit that bell button on YouTube to get updates about our latest videos. Well, thank everybody for joining us. Until next time, remember to wash your hands, wear your masks, and stay safe.